This is going to be the vlog where I tell you everything that has happened on this moving to LA trip from start to finish. Hello everybody, I hope you guys are doing good today. Alright, so I did what I said that I was going to do. I have taken some time out of my day. There's still some light outside. I spent the last few minutes trying to figure out a good place to film, so I'm just kind of just right here. And I have carefully figured out exactly what it is that I want to talk about in sequential order. Now with vlogs like these, I'm always afraid that I'm going to start rambling and then it will go on too long. So to make sure that didn't happen, I wrote down everything that I wanted to talk about here on my laptop. Now I guess you cannot see that, but you don't have to worry because I have it written here. So it basically, with here, I am going to go, I'll be going over 4 points. And like I said, I'll make sure that everything is just concise. Basically, it's gonna be everything that happened while I was out there, how I feel right now, everything that I learned, and what will come next. So let me go over everything that happened in a nutshell. Like, this is like episode 150 something, which means that I have, this second season has been a total of over 150 straight days of me making a vlog every single day. So now I'm just going to tell you, I guess, like I said, the actual things that happened in summary from the very day that I got out there to the very day that I left. Now, just in case if anybody forgot, the whole mission for this entire season was me trying to move to LA so I can work in television. For those of you who don't know, I mean, maybe probably more than likely do know, so that was the whole point of this season, but I want to work in television. To be specific, I would like to make my own anime-esque type of shows. I love anime, it's been influential my whole life, and I would like to make my own. So I decided that I wanted to move to Los Angeles because that is, you know, where a lot of TV work happens. I like the city, or just, you know, the state of California from the one time I went to the summer program in UCLA back in 2016. You know, I really like the place, so I was just thinking, hey, you know what? I'm gonna move to LA so I can start my career in television. My aunt and my uncle who live in California said that I could stay with them for a few months while basically I just get stabilized. So the actual mission, I guess you can say, for just this season alone was to find a job and a place to stay, because those are the two things that were going to acquire me, you know, that were going to allow me to become stable in Los Angeles. And then after, when stability was acquired, then I would start to look for TV work. So the order that it happened is that they gave me 2.5 months to do this. So when I got out there, I extremely briefly started looking just for regular work. By extremely briefly, I mean maybe like a week, maybe 2 weeks. But then shortly after, I just was thinking, hey, since I'm trying to find a job, period, that, you know, will give me money, why don't I just try to find a TV job first? That is actually what I did for a majority of those 2.5 months. I think I was looking only for TV work for maybe about 1 entire month, maybe like a month and 2 weeks, so like 6 weeks maybe. But a massive grunt of my time went to just trying to find different TV work, you know, entry-level TV work that I felt like that I could do. However, when I was making no traction at all, in the end I had actually decided to basically, I didn't technically hire this person, but I did call a consultant. Like I called somebody who you know, helps people with TV career building, and it was then, like, after like I said, like a month or 6 weeks of just stress and hardship, because, you know, I'm sending out all these applications, I'm not getting anything back. That's when I was like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to call up a professional. This is what they told me. They basically, and they were really nice. Like, I actually really appreciate this woman. But you know, she just told me flat out, with what I'm trying to do, trying to work in television, she just said to try to achieve that within 2.5 months, just pretty much, it's just not possible. She says that what I'm trying to do just simply requires just more time. And she was explaining to me how, like, towards the end of the year, which is, when I was doing it, like September, August, September, October, just that last half of the year, she actually said that's around the time where TV companies start to slow down their hiring process because of the holidays. Not only that, but she said that because I didn't really have any experience in television, it was, going to be even more harder for me to try to get a job in television because I would need time to just basically build slowly to, get, some bits and pieces of TV experience there, and then, basically just kind of go from there. But, she basically just told me, for my current skill level, for what I'm trying to do, I just need more time. And you would think that this is when I would start to get a little bit more focused, and I kind of did, but this was also the time where I was getting really, really confused. To put it simply, I basically just started listening to everybody's advice because, at that time, everybody was telling me something different. My aunt was telling me something different. My uncle was telling me something different. My grandmother was telling me something different. My mom was telling me something different. Just other people who would message me sometimes, would tell me something different. I was just getting a million different pieces of advice from a million different sources. And as a result, that period of time was the most stressful time for me during this trip. In short, the whole trip lasted almost 5 months. It was 4 months in it was 4 months and 3 weeks. So I'm just gonna round it up and just say it was 5 months. So out of the whole 5 months I was there, I have to say the first 4 were very, very hard. That first month is when I was trying to find a TV job to no avail, and then the following 3, it was just me doing a mixture of everything. I was trying to get my driver's license. I was trying to look for a regular job. I was trying to find a place to stay. Hold on a minute, I wrote some stuff down just to make sure that I didn't forget. Okay, yeah, that was it. But yeah, basically, I was just trying to do everything all at one time because I was just listening to everyone. That actually really impeded my progress because I was listening to everybody who wasn't me. There were a few times where I did listen to listen to me, and a part of that massive bundle that I was doing for those 3 months. Another thing that I was doing was going to social events. So that was when I went to I went to 2 women in animation events, and that's where I met people there. And that was really cool. But in the end, I'm still doing a whole bunch of different things. So it was just really just tearing my mind apart. So that covers about everything that happened. So now I'm going to just quickly surmise how this whole trip and how all of that made me feel. In short, I can boil it down to one word. All of that made me upset. Different strains of upset. Like I said, I was stressed, I was angry, I was sad, But when it boils down into it, I was just upset for several things. Just to give a quick list, I was upset that, I wasn't getting any jobs. I was upset that, I was so stressed out and that, everybody kept on telling me something different and I kept following them. It was just crazy. But I have to say, unfortunately, the main thing that I felt, and the main thing that I still kind of currently feel right now, since I've only been back for a couple days, is that I'm having difficulty trusting myself right now. Because that was something that I was dealing with after that first month, and I was trying to find a TV job and I couldn't do it because at that time there were so many people telling me that I could not do that. Now, I think almost all of it was for good intentions, but it's it was the way that people were interacting with me and talking with me, and it actually followed me throughout my entire 5 months there. And I mentioned this before in other vlogs, but it was just the way people would talk to me is that I just had no idea what I was doing. Now, don't get me wrong, I was still, figuring things out. I went out there with a shaky plan, but it wasn't detailed. But what I'm talking about is that the way people would talk to me, they were condescending me, they were talking down to me, that I didn't know any better, that I was stupid maybe, or just immature. I talked about that, in one of my other vlogs, and it's just kind of the entire vibe that they were giving off was, I'm older than you, I know more than you, you don't know what you're doing, you should just do what I say. And unfortunately, I actually started to believe that after that first month was over, after when I spoke to the counselor and she told me, you know, what you're trying to do, you can't do in the amount of time you're trying to do it. So that was when I really started to doubt myself. I was thinking, oh, well, shoot, I guess maybe everybody was right about me this whole time. Maybe I should just go along with what everybody is, is saying to me, and then, maybe that will work out. And that is what caused enormous stress for the following 3 months. So now I'm going to go into the third part. Is just what I have learned. I've learned many things about me. And I've also learned different things of I've learned a lot of things that I don't like. And I guess as a result, I've learned a lot of things that I do like. So for now, I'm going to go over how the things that I learned about me as a person. It's actually really hard for me to admit this. But in short, I don't believe in myself. At least I don't believe in myself enough, or I don't believe in myself in times where I really need to believe in myself. And when I say that, I mean to believe in me. It's kind of like if it's up to me to make a choice, like an important choice, I feel like that I cannot trust myself to make that choice, which is what led me to start listening to everybody else, which constituted most of my stress and just flat out misery. I realized that I do not have boundaries. Like, this was something that I wanted to say in this video. During the last few weeks before I came back here, my mom had recommended me this book. It was just a book called Boundaries, and it's basically teaching you everything there is about boundaries, like external boundaries, internal boundaries, and all it's really, what it mostly does is just teaching you what is you and your responsibility and what isn't you and what isn't your responsibility. And I learned I have terrible boundaries. I'm sorry, my issue is, at least what I'm learning, I've not done the book yet, but I've just learned that I comply. When I was thinking about how that had happened, I think it was just me growing up and not wanting to have any sort of confrontation with people. Anytime somebody wanted me to do something for them or listen to them or just whatever, I would almost impulsively say yes, just so I would not, I don't know, like I said, confront them, disturb the relationship, or, anything. And I guess in a way that made me a people pleaser, So that has, basically I've realized that I have a habit of just complying with whatever somebody says to me or does to me. As a result, my ability to say no is very weak. Because I'm so used to just going along with what people want me to do or want me to say, I'm not very good at voicing my opposition to something. And I feel like that is what was causing so much of my stress during those 3 months, because I was just doing what everybody else said and I wasn't really paying all that much attention to what even made me feel good. But I can say this, like I said, I've learned a lot of things that I dislike through this. And like I said, by extension, I've learned what I like, which is the opposite. Just a quick example of things that I don't like. I hate shared living. Oh my gosh, after staying at that hostel, for those of you who don't know, like I said, I don't know when or how you're watching this, I ran out of time to stay at my aunts and uncles, so I stuck around for about a week or so after when I left them at a hostel. And a hostel is basically it's basically just a really cheap form of shared living, normally used for travelers or backpackers or visitors. I stayed there for a week and it was horrible. I hated it. They had a refrigerator that you could keep food in, and people was eating some of my food. I had 2 of my roommates, and I was in a 6-bedroom dorm, so I had 5 other roommates, and they would come and go, because like I said, it's visitors. So I'm sorry. So people were eating my food. 2 of my roommates was a couple, and we were sleeping in bunk beds, and they would snuggle naked, I believe, underneath my bunk, being all lovey-dovey, and I'm right above them. I ended up getting 2 other roommates where one of them kept farting in his sleep. And I had another roommate, but when she went to the bathroom and she was in the shower, she left her hair everywhere. And I don't like shared living. Not only do I not like shared living, because another reason why I don't like shared living is because This is something that I experienced both living with my family and at the hostel, is that I have to accommodate the other people whom are there. It's like being at my aunt and uncle's place, you know, I'm in their house. I am under their rules. I have to do what they tell me. And of course, you know, I don't have a problem with that, but you get what I mean. It's just the act of bending yourself to the rules and the regulations and the procedures of other people. It can be difficult sometimes, especially if it's for an extended period or if it's things that you're just not used to. I also realize that I do not want to live in a city, because when I was just visiting the city and when I was staying in the hostel, I wouldn't have realized this had I done it, but the city is very loud. I don't technically mind that in my own space, but what I do mind it is my filming. I remember several times when I was trying to vlog in the hostel, you just hear cars and trucks and people yelling like all the time, like, you know, and I really don't like that stuff to show up in my videos. So I was thinking, when I do get my own place, and I'm living there, like I'm filming there, like my games and my vlogs, I don't want that to be a constant issue. Like I'm just playing a game like Minecraft or whatever, and then you just hear all this blaring noise in the background throughout the whole video. So no, I don't want to live by a city. Another reason I don't want to live in a city is because a lot of people smoke in the city. Like I remember when I would just walk out of my hostel, many times just the air would suddenly have an intense smell of cigarette smoke, and I don't like that. Like I will say this, living with my aunt and uncle, they lived like away from all of that, so I think whatever place that I get, I would like for it just to be away from all of that noise and activity, like I guess you could say like a place that I can retreat to. And here is the last thing that I've learned while I was out there. This actually doesn't have to do with me or what I like, well kind of, but I guess you could say I became very, very familiar with the mentality of a lot of people. I can't even necessarily say in LA or in California. It may just be some types of people. But while I was out there and I met so many people, I was vaguely aware of this before, but now I've seen it face to face, I realized that a lot of people have a very specific kind of mentality. Long story short, they have a struggle mentality. Basically, the way that I've been able to evaluate it is that I'm speaking very broad here, so just keep that in mind. But I realize that everybody out there seems to just worship struggle. It's kind of like they see it as like a rite of passage. Like this is something you must go through if you want to become successful or if you want to achieve what you're trying to do. And it's like to many people, there doesn't seem to be a differentiation between struggling and just a challenge and hard work. Like to me, those are two very different things. And one thing that I kept experiencing out there, it was people describing how, I guess, hard they were struggling to do whatever it is that they were trying to do, and also trying to convince me that I was going to basically have to struggle for a long time or do something horrible or do something that I'm gonna hate doing in order to do what it is that I want to do. Just to give a few examples of just some things, I remember when I was in an Uber, actually recently, it was like one of my last few days there, I was in an Uber and I was getting to know my Uber driver just a little bit, and I mentioned to him, oh, I'm trying to, move out to LA. He then suddenly tells me, well, if you ever find yourself homeless, we have a homeless shelter down there. And then he just started telling me all these details and all these perks. It's staying at a homeless shelter. I had no idea what brought that on, but he said that, him being an Uber driver, he drives around a lot of starving artists and actors. And he said they love the homeless shelter. They get like a cell phone and food stamps and stuff like that. And I don't know, that really didn't sit right with me, because I'm thinking like, I don't know, it's just, to me, I'm just thinking like a homeless shelter is for, it's not for you. Like, you get what I'm trying to say? It's kind of like, I feel like you're just kind of taking advantage of those resources for your own reasons. Other people kept on telling me, Julian, you're gonna have to get a low-paying job and work for peanuts for years and years before you get your shot. And like, I don't know, it's the best way that I could just say it is that it felt like everybody was trying to convince me that I was going to have a hard, tough, rough, brutal start for who knows amount of time, normally a long time, before things start to look better. While I was out there, I actually successfully ended up getting a job. It was an escape room job. For those of you who don't know, I have worked at an escape room job before. But everything just about that job, I felt, I didn't like it. I didn't like it because I felt like that it was, for me anyway, it was feeding into what would be the struggle mentality for me. My aunt and uncle lived very far away from the main city, and that was where I got my job. And it's just when I guess you could say, when I was just taking inventory of everything that I was gonna have to be doing, it's the distance traveled, the amount of money that I would have to pay to get there, the work that I would have to be doing, the stress levels involved, the number of available, other employees there, because, if you're understaffed, then, there's like a bunch of responsibilities going around, and then you're doing a whole bunch of stuff that, isn't technically your job, and you're doing all of this for no extra pay. To me, it wasn't worth it. I decided to quit that job because basically the amount that I was putting in, time, money, energy, everything, I felt like I was getting so little out of it. Like I said, because the main thing I'm getting out of that would have been money. But like I said, a large chunk of it is already getting spent on just to get there. And like I said, in the end, I was like, I can't do this. This is way too hard. This is way too stressful. I'm getting so little out of this. And I just said, this isn't for me. Almost everybody who I told that to thought I was crazy. They thought that was the worst decision ever. Like, the amount of looks I got, the tone of voices people caught with me, just like, what were you thinking? Like, you had a job and you gave it away, like, welcome to the real world. And like, I was like, are you serious? Like, it's like people couldn't comprehend my feelings on it. And I don't know, I guess, like I said, in their eyes, I came out to get a job and I got a job and I quit it. But in my eyes, I came out, to get a job that will actually help me stay in LA. And like I said, I'm really barely getting by here. And like I said, it was just too much for too little. And like I said, that was when I felt like that people really were starting to see me as just some kid who lives in a fantasy land. Like I'm unaware of my surroundings, that I'm just doing things la-di-da-di-da, and hope things turn out right, And like I said, and that was when my self-esteem actually really started to go down. Still is kind of down, I will admit. I'm kind of emotionally recovering right now. But yeah, it's just like everybody, like I said, around that time just saw me as just a kid who didn't know what he was doing, who's making stupid mistakes. I should just stop what I'm doing and just listen to them. And it just made me feel really, really bad about myself. Which leads me to the final point, is basically what's going to come next. Alright, I'll be honest. A massive thing that I'm currently dealing with right now is really trying to overcome the massive amount of self-doubt, fear, and the inability to believe or to trust myself with decisions. The reason that I feel like this has affected me so deeply is because I really put my heart into this, man. Like, I had never done something of this magnitude with my life. Like, before I went out there, the most I had ever done was just, I just attended high school. I went to community college for I think a year and a half, and I started my YouTube and Facebook and Twitch channels. That basically sums up what I've, done. Me moving to LA was like the largest, most important thing that I've done with my life thus far. I forgot to mention this extremely important piece, but I was saying I was out there for 5 months, and I described what happened in those 4 months. The first month I was trying to find a TV job to no avail. Then the last 3 months I was just following everybody else's advice, and that's when things got worse. But in the final month, that was when things actually started to look up. Bottom line, I spoke with my mom's boyfriend, and he gave me advice that resonated with me. It made me feel good. I don't know if you heard that. That's my cat Tiger. If he starts meowing, just ignore him, please. But yeah, it's like he gave me advice that resonated with me because to me it made sense. It wasn't gonna, like I say, it wasn't gonna be like a struggle. Like, it was still gonna be like a challenge, but like I said, I don't care about that. Like, a challenge makes you better. But to me, it just felt right. Okay, I noticed it was getting really dark, like the sun was going down. I pulled out my light. So hopefully that, I think that looks a lot better. And I haven't filmed I haven't had my equipment for the last 5 months, so I kind of forget to do video. But yeah, but bottom line, his advice was that he believes that I should find a stable job that actually pays well enough that would allow me to stay out there. Like, sounds like some very simple advice, right? That was when I took his advice and I basically applied that to the things that I know about social media, because that was also another thing that was, I guess you could say, that I was getting in my own way. Inwardly, I always did kind of feel like that I did have some pretty good social media skills, and I felt like that I could use them to affect in, other areas outside of what I do. But once again, many sources, they were basically telling me otherwise. They either didn't think that social media was a profitable skill. I feel like a lot of people who don't really understand social media think that it's just kind of like a game or something people kind of just do for fun. So I guess when they saw what I did, they didn't really measure it as an actual skill. Others thought that the skills that I did know wasn't really worth anything, that I could probably only get maybe a couple $100s for doing something. And what a lot of people don't understand about social media is that when you are using it for a business, when you're using it to grow a company's page or to manage a page, that is a very profitable skill. But many people don't understand that, and they think it's either a worthless skill or a low-paying one. So even though I did have the little bug in my head prior to try to look up social media jobs, I was listening to everybody else and I didn't do it. But when I started listening to my mom's boyfriend, and then for that whole month, I focused, Tigra, dude, why are you knocking over my light? My bad. Animals, am I right? But, basically, shoot, I lost my train of thought. Bottom line is that I started following his advice and things started working. And within just 1 month, the month of November, I applied to 71 jobs. In the end, only 3 got back to me. The first one, I did a skills test for her, but they never got back to me after when I finished their test. It was just some online thing. The second one, that was an in-person interview. That one also didn't go well. The employer, he was very rude. He kept interrupting me, and once again, he was watering down my skills, and he called me fresh meat. So yeah, but it was the third one that went very well. There were several stages to it. I passed all of the stages, and in the end, I was not able to get the job out just due to circumstance, but I was told basically the very antithesis that everybody else was telling me. I was told that I do have excellent skills, that my skills are very valuable and are wanted by other people who understand the worth of social media, and that if I was to apply to just other social media companies, that I would more than likely be amongst their top picks. And that did so well for my confidence. Don't get me wrong, I was still really upset and really down that I didn't get it, but that little glimmer of hope, I guess, made me feel better, because like I said, everybody else kept on saying I wasn't good enough or I didn't know how to do anything, but these people who understand what I do, they said the opposite. So I don't know if I ended up derailing. I apologize if I do, but just to get to this last part of this vlog is to basically what comes next. So the first thing is that I'm taking a break. Oh my goodness. I filmed for over, when I say that to myself, I can't believe it. I filmed for over 150 straight days without any breaks, just every single day, 150. So I'm just gonna take a break. I don't know how long the break will last. And like I said, this is of course, the end of season 2 of my daily vlog. So I'm not sure as to when I will start season 3. And with each season, I basically have a goal to accomplish. So we'll have to get to that another time. All I know is that for at least a couple weeks, maybe a few weeks, I'm just not going to vlog. I may throw a vlog every now and then just to be like, hey, what's up? This is what's been going on. But I make no promises on that. But I guess I'll still be probably in the background editing some of the games that were supposed to have been being played while I was out there. I still have 3 games that I need to edit, which is Super Mario Maker, Kingdom Hearts, and The Last of Us. Another thing that I'm doing is, honestly, I'm emotionally recovering. Once again, if you hear noise in the background, that is my cat, once again, Tigra, the same cat. I have 2 cats. He's been causing all the interruptions in this video. He is currently using the litter box. He's like pitter-pattering the litter. But another thing that I'm gonna have to do is to take some time to emotionally recover, because that was one heck of an experience on my self-esteem and emotional well-being, and I need time to repair. Like I said, if I had to be honest, I don't feel very good about myself, you know, especially after when I didn't get that job that I really thought that I was gonna get during that last month of November. Because like I said, I went through all the stages, everything was looking good until, you know, they said no. That in particular was kind of like the icing on the cake for me, just like the cherry on top of just Julian sucks. Like I know I'm being like really forward, but that's really how I was feeling. So on top of just all of the pent-up stress and disappointment and anger that I was just feeling up until that point, I feel like it really did just wither away my self-esteem. You know, like I said, I currently, as of this very moment, I don't feel very good about myself. You know, the best way that I can describe how I'm feeling is just, I'm pretty sure we've all felt it, when you try really hard and you don't succeed. You know, like I put my all into this, like all of my faith, all of my belief, all of my heart, all of my hard work, and it still didn't work out. So, you know, I feel spent, and I feel like I just need time to just feel better about myself. So that includes me taking time to work on my boundaries. Like I said, I was reading that book. Like, all I know is that I don't know what my boundaries are. I just kind of just take whatever people give me, and I don't listen to myself very often. I don't voice my disagreements on things. I have difficulty going my own way. It's weird. It's like I go my own way, but I do it with lots of stress involved. So I am going to be taking time to figure out how to feel okay of setting my boundaries and sticking with them. Like, this is a very good book. I do advise that you get it. I don't remember the author's name, but just type in the word boundaries, and you should see it on Amazon or something like that. That's where I got it. Another thing that I'm going to be doing is trying to overcome my fear of trying again, because honestly, I'm hecka scared. I feel like I said, it's kind of like, because you put all of yourself into this and you still weren't able to succeed, it feels like that I just can't do it. It feels like that no matter what I do, no matter how hard I try, I won't be able to do the things that I want to do. That was the biggest fear that I had before going out there, and it kind of basically happened. So now it's kind of like, what do you do when you actually experience in your mind was the worst possible thing? So I need time to just, I don't know, like I said, just to believe in myself again. Because I don't know, like I said, at the moment, I don't really feel like that I can do much of anything. I feel weak, I feel beaten, I feel emotionally beaten down, and I just need some time to, like I said, to feel good about myself, to overcome that fear of trying again, because even in this current state of paralyzing, crippling fear and disappointment, I don't want to stay here the rest of my life. I mean, of course, I could never say, you know, here the rest of my life, but, you know, you get my point. It's kind of like, I don't want to not move forward in general. And the final thing that I think is going to happen next, this is probably going to happen after the emotional arc of this, but while I was at the hostel, I guess in the back of my mind, my subconscious was just doodling like a rough sketch of, I guess you could say, the next plan that I could undertake now that I've gone out there for 5 months, and I know, I guess you could say, I know what I'm up against. Like, I know how strong the enemy is or whatever. In short, basically, it's to acquire resources here before I try again out there. Thanks to that wonderful advice that you know, the place that I was applying to gave me about my social media skills, I do feel a little bit more confident in them. I was very unconfident with them, like I said, in light of what everybody was telling me. So really quick, the rough sketch of a plan that I have, you know, just kind of baking in the back of my head right now, is that I get a social media job here, I raise up money, and then basically with the money and the experience that I gained at that job, I will try to get a social media job out back in LA, and then that will help me to move into my own place. No fuss, no muss, no stress, no annoyance, no pain, no ridiculous, unnecessary hassles. I am trying to keep my voice active in my own being. Basically, it's like I'm telling myself what I like, what I don't like, what I'm willing to do, what I'm not willing to do, and I'm sticking by that, and the little rough doodle sketch of this plan, it feels good to me. It feels like that I will be able to transition into LA with much greater ease and something that I'd be good at, so it's not technically hard for me. It's still going to be work and time and whatnot, but like I said, I'm not struggling to do so. I'm not breaking my bones every single time I leave to go to work, and or some other crazy ridiculous. I'm not making $1 an hour. It's goodness gracious. I'm sorry. I got some things to deal with emotionally, like during this break as well. That's basically it for the whole trip. I hope I covered everything. I think I did. I think this vlog probably went on pretty long, but I am kind of trying to surmise, what happened over the course of 5 months on the outside of me and on the inside of me. Hopefully you've been able to take something out of this this experience. Something. The whole reason that I even do these daily vlogs is because oftentimes when I'm looking at other people who have succeeded or doing things that I want to do or have things that I want, oftentimes the work that they put in normally doesn't really get all that talked about. It's like you get a really quick summary of everything that they've done. It's kind of like humble beginnings, some work here and there in the beginning, and then it kind of fast forwards to the end as to where they are now, and they look, and they're living this awesome life and whatnot. The reason that I want to film these daily vlogs, especially in seasons when I'm trying to accomplish a goal, is because it shows you everything that happens in that middle part. That middle part that is the longest and the most difficult, but I believe is also the most important. Like I said, you've seen what I've gone through in the beginning, in the middle, and now up until the very end. So I guess the final remark that I have for this entire vlog, and then I really will end it, is that the main thing that I've learned, I think, from this whole trip, and this is advice, like I said, that I'm telling myself, it's probably going to take a little bit of a while before I actually even believe it personally, but just believe in yourself and your own choices. Okay, I feel like that is the main issue that I had this entire time, is that I kept on listening to everybody else. I was so outward focused. I was making everybody's opinion about me, everybody's thoughts about me, more important than how I felt about myself. Julian, you need to get a car if you want to make this work. Julian, you need to get a college degree if you want to make this work. Julian, you need to work at this low-paying job for 5 years if you want to make this work. Julian, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's like everybody kept on telling me everything that I should do with my life, basically. And I didn't want to do any of it, but I kept on trying to convince myself that I didn't know what I was doing and I should listen to them, which was making me so unhappy, So that really is my advice to you. Just really trust in what you know is right for you. That's kind of hard for me to say since, like I said, that is a lesson that I am smack in the middle of learning, like I said, after all of this. But I thinking back, that last month that I had was the least amount of stress and the most focused that I was throughout my whole 5 months there. And I feel like had I done that in the beginning, I would have done it. I actually would have been able to do what I set out there to do, and that was to become stable. I feel like had I just focused on finding a social media job and be confident in my skills, I would have been able to do it, because like I said, I got really, really close to getting that one in just 1 month. So that is my advice to you. If you need to take anything out of this really long vlog, or just, and my 5 months at doing this, I know it may be hard. I know it may not be easy, and you will probably stumble in the beginning, because I dang sure know I am going to stumble a lot. Know your boundaries. Know what is within your domain, and focus on that. Know what are your thoughts, your opinions, your feelings, and really capitalize on those. You can take the thoughts and opinions and stuff of other people's into consideration, if you think that they are a person of worthy counsel, but don't let it influence you so strongly. Don't let it influence you as bad as it influenced me, okay? Because I let it influence me a lot. I let it control me. I was just blindly listening to others because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't really feel like that I knew what I was doing, so I was just going with what everybody told me, and as a result, I was miserable. So trust yourself, believe in your own choices, and just know that the path that you are carving out for you is yours. It is unique to you. If you make mistakes along the way, just own up to it. Like my really close friend of mine that I've had, I don't think I've ever actually mentioned them on my channel, but he's my oldest friend. It's not Isaiah, he's my oldest friend. I knew him way back in elementary school. We had a conversation once where he made a choice with his life. Now, it wasn't like a dangerous choice or, or whatever, it was just a choice made for him. And I remember in that conversation, he told me, he was telling this choice to other people, almost everybody disagreed with it, but he told me, and this is what he told these people: if this is a mistake, let me figure that out with my own hands. And I had so much respect for him when he said that. And hopefully now that I'm home, I can visit him. I don't know, he's like out doing stuff, maybe I can visit him, we make a video, so you guys can see him. But when he said that, I had so much respect for him. I already had respect for him, but that just like brought it to another level. And that's something that I'm trying to realize, that it's okay to make mistakes, that if it doesn't go right the first time, because that's what I kept telling myself. I was like, I'm out here, I need to make this work the first time. So just take that with you if you don't have anything else to take with. Believe in yourself, trust yourself. It's okay to make mistakes, and the path that you create is yours. And if things don't go the way that you didn't think they would learn that with your own hands and take pride in that. Nobody can take that away from you. This is your life. These are your choices. Stand by them, because if you don't, you are going to be stressed, angry, frustrated, disappointed, and everything else that I was feeling during those first 4 months. So, thank you. Oh my gosh, this is a lot, man. Man, oh man, I'm sorry. This is a heck of a lot. So thank you all, really, thank you all so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when my videos are going up. Show your support by donating in the links in the description, and like my Facebook page, because that's the hub of all my activity, and all of that is also in the description. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you in the next one. See ya.